Now that's a stick. Welcome back to WeBuyFishingTackle.com. Today we're talking very briefly about Greenheart rods. Now, rods have been around a long time. They're way back past the 1900s, the 1800s, the 1700s. I've even got an illustration of a chap in China sitting in a boat in the 14th century with a rod and reel. Wow, nothing's really changed. So when we look at rod materials, we get a lot of calls from people saying, I've got some old wooden rods. Are they worth anything? Well, yes. Are they worth a lot? Generally, not so. Wooden rods are very early. They go back to the 1700s and 1800s. They're generally black stained. They may be ash. Some of them are hazel. Most of the wooden rods we see are made of Greenheart. Now, Greenheart is a South American wood, especially British Guyana, and it has waterproof qualities. This chunk that I've got here is the top section of a boat rod with ceramic guides. The bonus of using a rod like this for the angler is that the water doesn't ingress into the wood, warp, split, or do anything else. It just stays as it is. Initially, Greenheart sections were used on harbours for pilings and anything water related where you didn't want it to rot and it would stay where it was. So these are normally coming in tree form. They're cut into long chunks, if you like, or planks, and then machined. One of the few Greenheart machines still around is in the Falkirk Museum in Stirlingshire. It came from the cellars of a shop called Scrimgeour's, which just happens to be the shop as a wee boy I used to get the bus to go to buy my quarter pint of maggots in a metal tin. Nobody knew the machine was under there. I don't even know if Scrimgeour's knew it was under there when they sold the shop. But when the new owners took over, it's now a jewellery shop and antiques, when they took it over, went to the cellar, they found this contraption which is amazing. So it's a chunk of wood, it's machined on a lathe, it can be tapered to however you see fit, so it's relatively easy to make compared to other rods. What we're looking for on a Greenheart rod is something unusual. Most people don't fish them because of the weight. If I pick this up and drop it, it weighs about 5 pounds. This is not a 6-ounce rod. This is a Greenheart salmon rod. Because it's named at the bottom, Carter of London, it's got brass fittings, you think, wow, that must be worth a fortune. Well, in any collector's market, you need 3 things. You need condition, rarity, and demand. Any one of them missing and the price goes down. This has got some demand, it has no rarity, and there's poor condition because the bottom 2 sections have got no rings on them. So this is what you would call a restoration project. Years ago you'd see them in pubs and clubs and hotels, hung on a wall with a reel, generally screwed to the wall. Nowadays you don't, so that market has changed. Anybody who buys a Greenheart now is probably a collector or a very, very occasional user. There are modern Greenheart rods. This is from the 1940s. It's been rebuilt. This is actually lovely. It's not too heavy because it's only 7 foot. It's got a cork handle. It's a little spinning rod by Alex Martin of Edinburgh. You can actually use that today. You don't have to be particularly careful with Greenheart rods because they're either in one piece or they break. There's no in between. They generally don't snap. They break along a spear. So if you're not watching what you're doing, you can impale somebody on the other end, but it all goes wrong. Probably the one thing that stands aside from the Greenheart rods not worth a lot of money are the travel rods. Now this is a little travel rod. It's multi-piece. It's 6-piece long with a lovely poker burn bamboo hollow tube to carry the tip section. Wrongly called a poacher's rod, because a poacher generally wouldn't be able to afford to go into Farlow's or Pall Mall and buy this. He would have a stick with a wheel on it. This is a travel rod. It's under 2 foot long. Surprisingly, it fits on the crossbar of a bicycle, so it's more likely to be a bicycle rod where you tie it to the crossbar, you go fishing, you do your thing with all the bits, and you put it back. These are collectible because they're easy to display in short section. This particular one may be worth 75 to 100 pounds. This Greenheart one with no rings on it might be worth 20, 30 pounds. The little Greenhearts refurbished to fish with, 30, 40 pounds, 50 pounds maybe. So none of them are going to make you rich. Some of them you can use, but the vast majority will end up on display. So if you come back in a minute, I'll show you the rest of this Greenheart rod with a really unusual reel. See you in a minute.